Kevin Steele is back. Nick Saban is playing chess. We've known this for a long time. Let's rewind to the 2007 season when Steele was the first DC at the University of Alabama under Nick Saban. This is Steele's third time back with the University of Alabama, third time with the GOAT. Now, when Saban and Steele getting things going, back in 2007, Alabama allowing 22 points per game, 7-6. The next season, Alabama's ranked 7th in the country, allowing 14.3 points per game. As Steele as the DC, Alabama goes 12-2. And guess who was the co-DC that year? Kirby Smart. Hey, like and subscribe. Today we're talking about Kevin Steele and the impact that he should have or could have at the University of Alabama. We appreciate you guys being with us. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. At a recent fundraiser event in Mobile, Alabama, Steele was quoted as saying, "Well, it's simple. When you've done things for this long, you only do things that you feel good about." He's right. You look at the age difference between Kevin Steele and Tommy Rees, Alabama's new offensive coordinator. There's a 30-year gap. Saban wanted somebody with experience, wanted somebody with wisdom, somebody who could bring back that Bama mentality. Now, we talk about that all the time, but who could really bring it back? Well, somebody who's been with Saban, somebody who's proven, somebody who's won championships, somebody who understands that the defense doesn't have to be overly complicated, that you have to have alphas on the defensive side of the football to do one thing: put the person that's carrying the football into the dirt. Plain and simple. Steele also said, "Well, it's the third time. I obviously understand what Saban wants. And the reason is it's Alabama and it's Coach Saban," when asked about his return to the Crimson Tide. Now let's look at that again. It's the third time. I obviously understand what Saban wants. What does Saban want? He wants to reclaim the top of the college football pinnacle. That's what he wants, plain and simple. And it starts on the defensive side of the football. The old adage, defense wins championships, I think it's still possible. Do you? I get it. The game has changed in college football. You got to have a quarterback that can throw for 300 yards. You got to put points on the board, a ton of points on the board. But when you rewind and look to the teams that won national championships under Nick Saban and what they did, you look at some of the defenses that Kirby Smart had and Jeremy Pruitt, even the 2020 team under Golding. Let's look at some of those statistics real quick. In 2009, under Kirby Smart, Alabama's defense, 11.7 points per game. Outstanding. In 2011, Alabama was ranked first in defense in the country, 8.2 points per game. Smart was the DC. 2012, first ranked defense, 13-1 under Kirby Smart. Now, Kevin Steele came back in 2014, where he coached the Linebackers. Alabama was 12-2 that season, allowing 18.4 yards per game. In 2017, Alabama had the first-ranked defense. Actually, in 2016 as well. Back-to-back years under Jeremy Pruitt, Alabama had the number one ranked defense in the country. 14-1, 13-1. Golding takes over in 2018. Alabama goes 14-1. The defense took a little bit of a slide from 2017 and 2018 as they were ranked first under Smart and then 12th under Golding. However, in 2020, Golding had Alabama's defense ranked third in the country. That 2020 Alabama team, I think we'll always rewind to that particular team, 13-0. So when you look to this Alabama defense, I honestly feel there's a lot of pressure on Kevin Steele to help Alabama bring back what Alabama had in the past. That's a hard-hitting, ferocious defense that can get to the quarterback, that can stuff you in goal line situations, And again, look, listening to Pete Golding and watching Coach Golding's defense the last couple of years, I think we all feel that there was an issue. Right? In 2018, Alabama allowed 18.1 points per game. In 2019, 18.6 points per game. In 2021, 20.1 points per game. Yes, has Alabama's offense changed during that time and put more points on the board to counter that? Yes, but is that what you want? Let me ask you this. Can you still have a defense that allows under 14 points per game in today's college football landscape? Sound off in the comment box. With everything changing, because now college football is about offense, firepower. So that's why I feel Kevin still has some pressure on him. Can he bring Alabama back to where they're not allowing anything? We've talked about the no-fly zone. We've talked about Kool-Aid and Malachi Moore. We've talked about the fact that Dallas Turner returns. We've talked about the fact that big Jaheim Otis is stuffing up the middle. Alabama has what they need, once again, on the defensive side of the football, and it's time that Alabama gets back to that defensive standard of perfection. Yes, I'm talking perfection because when you look to the past, this is achievable. There's no excuses. There's no lacking holes on the Alabama defense. None. If Alabama was able to do this in 2011, 2012, and I'm talking being the number one defense in America and number one in 2016 and 2017, then Alabama can do that in 2023. Nick Saban is a defensive-minded coach. Kevin Steele is old school. This is his third time back at Bama. His quote speaks for itself. It's the third time. I obviously understand what Nick Saban wants. He understands. Can you imagine that conversation between Kevin Steele and Nick Saban? When Coach Saban wanted to bring back Kevin Steele, I imagine it went something like this. Hey, Kevin, we need you back at Bama. Kevin Steele, I understand, Coach. I don't think that conversation lasted more than 2 minutes. You look at the arsenal of defensive firepower that Kevin Steele has coming back. We've talked about Kevin Steele in his past 10 years at Auburn and how successful and dominating those Auburn defenses were. They were nasty. Very physically imposing, especially inside the trenches. The dog mentality needs to come back to Tuscaloosa, plain and simple. Kevin Steele, yes, there's pressure on the defensive side of the ball. 100%. I think Kevin Steele can bring back that alpha mentality. I think that he can have the defense tuned way up from even last season. Look, the past 2 seasons, in 2021, 20 points allowed per game. Last season, 18.2 points per game. No, we don't want that. 14 points per game and under, that is what you need to have a successful defense. Period. Kevin's still coming back to Alabama, one of the biggest storylines in college football, because the Alabama defense really is going to dictate the future of this entire team. Period. That's what I'm going to say. I think the offense is going to be fine. But if the defense cannot retain what it once had, then we're going to continue to see somebody else holding up the college football trophy. There you have it. Kevin Steele is on the clock. The third time that Kevin Steele is back in Tuscaloosa starts right now. This is the defensive era under Kevin Steele. What do you think about the addition that Coach Saban made during the offseason, bringing in Coach Steele? Sound off in the comment box. I appreciate you guys listening. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. You agree with this assessment of the Alabama defense? Let me know inside the comment box. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Henderson. Bama football on YouTube.